All right, walking on a bit of a back street to get things quieter for podcasting. Though I see a road right next to me, and this is very confusing as usual, so we'll see. We'll see how long I can manage this for. So I got a slightly odd start to the day. Yesterday I was like, I'm going to have a super adventure tomorrow. But, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to have a super adventure. but last night I did a little phoning home, and there's a 12-hour time difference between Japan and my hometown. So I was like, well, that's as bad as it could possibly get. But it turns out I was wrong, because then they pushed the time back. The time zones changed. Because twice a year in North America, we shift the time by an hour just so the sunlight lines up slightly better with it not being dark all the time. So now it's a 13-hour time difference. So I got to stay up pretty late, and the people on the other end got to get up pretty fucking early to make this shit happen. So that kept me up pretty late. And then, here's the road. I think I'm going to have to connect to the road. But then I was talking last episode about that album Spiderland was on my mind. Oh, what is this? Stairways up into... Is this a park? Jodu Shugo Kurakuji Shrine. Alright. Fuck it. Let's take a quick detour to the shrine. But yeah, even though it was late and I probably should have gone to bed, I had that album Spiderland on my mind a lot, and there's a documentary about the making of that album called Breadcrumb Trail that's on YouTube. So I stayed up and watched it, and it was awesome. I haven't actually seen that documentary since, in like 10 years almost. Such a strange scenario. It's just these kids from Louisville, Kentucky who they had been in many bands before this band Slint they did. They were in many bands after. They collaborated together on different things even after that band broke up. In a weird way, that particular band was not especially special to them, but it just kept gaining momentum. That album Spiderland, gaining momentum until nowadays in the alternative metal scene or art rock or whatever you want to call it, it's super fucking famous and super influential. And it's interesting to see their perspective where they're just like, we worked hard on it. We were proud of it. Things just weren't working out. We didn't keep going with that band. We just, to them it was just a thing that they did, just a couple of years of their life. And then all these decades later, it's the fucking shit. This is a very nice temple. I've very much run out of things to say about temples. They're all goddamn gorgeous. This one is quite a large temple by just the standards of a random temple in a neighborhood. It's got 2 statues out front. They look kind of like lions, but I don't know what they actually are. The faces are kind of like dragon faces, but they have tails. And yeah, it just looks like, to me, to a dumb North American, it looks like a movie set. It's like, man, that's a real building. Look at that shit. It's so cool. It's just all, ancient Japanese style architecture. It just looks sweet. All right, yet another temple down. I used to do a little game, an unofficial game in Vancouver, where I would just try to find branches of the local library without a map, just walking around. Because there are some surprisingly hidden ones. Wow, this is not the most idyllic place to have a shrine. That road is actually pretty loud. But every time I found a new branch of the local library, it was like trying to gather all of the, in like the old Grand Theft Auto games where you got to find 100 whatevers, 100 of an item. I don't know if there's 100 branches of the library, but there's a lot. So every time I found one, it's like, I found another one. Adding to my collection. But if I tried to go to every shrine, Jesus Christ, not fucking possible. And pointless. But yeah, they're just fucking everywhere. Well, that didn't take up as much time as I had hoped. Is there any way to get off of this street and still get to where I'm going? No, there is not. All right, well, let me just ramble a little bit, even though there's traffic. So I watched the Breadcrumb Trail documentary, and it's like one of those things where I know I shouldn't be doing it because I want to get up tomorrow and use the sunlight. Shouldn't stay up till 3 in the morning watching a goddamn documentary about a band, no matter how fascinating it is. But I did. So yeah, I went to bed really late. So I was trying to figure out, because I knew it was going to ruin today. I just can't. I cannot talk with all the traffic. I just can't do it anymore. I fucking hate the traffic. I'll get back to this once I get away from the traffic. I was up at 3 a.m. Pause. ... This traffic actually got so bad that it's gone underneath, under a tunnel, and I'm above it. So I can hear it under me, but this isn't too bad. Let's see how long this lasts. But anyway, I was trying to figure out even before I went to sleep. I'm like, shit, okay. I was going to have a big adventure tomorrow, which means either go hike up Mount Aburayama or try to get to the islands way out in the bay of, they're not really islands, the peninsula out in the bay to the north. But both of those plans require an early start. Don't want to get stuck in the woods when the sun goes down, obviously, as I've learned several times already. And it probably wouldn't be so bad to be out on the island when it gets dark, because it gets dark by like 5:30, so you don't get a ton of day, but there's still a lot of evening left to do stuff. It's just dark, so that might not be so bad. But since I've never been out there before, I would prefer not. I'm not quite clear of the scale. I have heard that the scale out there is quite large. I probably got some walking ahead of me to get to the secondary island with the shrines and stuff. So not the greatest idea if I end up waking up very late. Wow, this is actually great. I can't believe how quiet this street got. This is all you need to do. Make tunnels under every street. And then all the streets can be clear. All the cars should be underground. Geez, that's actually amazing. Can you imagine if a city was made that way? If you want to drive somewhere, you don't get sunlight. You get to go underground. That'd be fucking the best. That would be so good. Then it would all collapse in a horrifying infrastructure of death and destruction. So I thought, what could I do? Because this wasn't really a big problem in Tokyo. It didn't matter if it got dark. It was fun. It's like, all right, now it's dark. It's just that I'm doing these far-flung fucking rural adventures out here in Fukuoka. So I thought I could just go downtown. Haven't really properly done that. What I call the downtown, and where it's like all the fancy shit. There's a big mall called Canal City I have not been to yet, and I could just walk around. I don't really know downtown Fukuoka that well, but it's just generally pretty, just all lit up at night. The neon reflecting off the canals. There's worse things you could do, so I was like, I'll do that. That's the plan for tomorrow. But then I woke up early-ish at like 10:30, and my first inclination was, you were up all night, just go back to bed. Then I was like, no. Oh, no. You could just get up right now, and this is, not early, but early enough to justify those other adventures. Oh, here we go. I'm merging back into traffic now. Wow, that was fucking nice. Just a nice little hump. Just a nice little walking hump that went over the traffic. How delightful. So yeah, I just decided, fuck it, just push it, dude. Just get up. Get moving. Drink some coffee. Because in particular, if I go out to those islands, it's going to be a train ride. Maybe hiking up the mountain when you've been up till 3 in the morning the night before. Not the best plan. Sitting around, standing, waiting on a train. Not really that bad. And very easy to escape from, unlike the fucking mountains. So I decided to do that, and I got up, and beautiful goddamn day out. I think it's 12 degrees, but I think it actually might be more like 14 today. Very sunny, clear skies. I'm wearing my windbreaker thing that I bought in Montreal because it's probably going to be windy out on the island. And it's a little too heavy. It's more than I need for this weather. It's like just beautiful out. And I feel bad already that last episode I was complaining about how cold my Airbnb is. Because when I was calling home, turns out they already had snow there. Only one snowfall, but then it stayed cold enough for the snow to stay on the ground. And it's just like, well, fuck. God damn. I mean, of course, it's like late November. Of course that's how it is in Canada, but I've said it before and I will say it another 100 times, easily. I cannot believe this weather in Japan. It's fucking wild. It is 20 times warmer than I thought it was going to be. I just can't even believe it. It's ridiculous. And then when I got outside, it was so beautiful that I did feel that little tug that it's like, oh, I could go the other way. I could go do the mountain thing. But it's like, no. You'll regret that 4 or 5 hours from now because you did stay up all night. This is, if you hike up a mountain, you're going to feel that shit. Where if you just take a train and drink a lot of coffee, you're probably fine. Speaking of, I see a train passing by, but that's not quite the one I want to go to. I was going to do the train that I took yesterday, try to take that, see where it terminates, and then I guess hook over to Hakata Station, figure out how this all works. I really wasn't quite sure what was going on with the trains. But the other train line that I didn't try yesterday is Takeshita Station. Also the name of an excellent wrestler from DDT Pro Wrestling, currently in AEW, Konosuke Takeshita. I noticed on the map that train line is a little red JR symbol. There's so many JR trains that they're different colors, and the little red one, it's also a little red symbol out on the island. Saitozaki, I believe, is the station name. So does that mean if I get on this train, which this has been a very easy walk, way easier than walking all the way to Hakata, can I just get on this train and it'll just take me all the way to the magical island in the bay that I didn't think I'd ever be able to get to without navigating a ferry, but it turns out there's just a freaking train line that goes straight to it? Is that what's going to happen today? That's insane. That's so magical and amazing. It's fucking insane. And arguably, mainlining coffee to make up for, again, it's not like I'm like super tired. I just, a bit more tired than I'd like to be. But mainlining coffee is actually even probably easier while on the train than when I'm just walking. Because when you're just walking, it's pretty likely that you'll find a convenience store with a washroom or just a park that has a bathroom in it. But if you're on the train line, every fucking station has bathrooms. It's even easier. I haven't really done a ton of train travel this trip. But, and there's another thing. Just my brain slowly coming back together where I was so bamboozled and gobsmacked about these train lines that are not part of the main Fukuoka subway system. I remember now, this is just how, my brain does not hold information well unless I directly do something myself, and probably by myself. That's when I really internalize information. Because I do remember now, when I was booking all this stuff several months ago, I was talking to my friend Brad, just texting him about, I'm heading back to Fukuoka, trying to explain where my Airbnbs were. And I was like, and this one seems to be near some manner of station. I'm not sure what that station is. Like, now that I think back, I was somewhat aware of these stations because I remember I mentioned it. And he said, it's just one of those, regional commuter train things. And I do remember thinking like, he seems to really think I know what that means. He really just kind of casually, because Brad would be, he would explain a concept if it was a concept that needed to be explained. And with that one, I guess it was notable that I noticed that he expected me to know what that meant. And I just remember thinking like, what does that mean exactly? What is this train system? But then the conversation just moved on to something else. But now I suddenly remember, because me and him went to see the world's largest reclining Buddha, which is also on my list of things to do again in Fukuoka, we in fact took one of these trains. It left from one of the major stations, probably Hakata, And yeah, we just rode this train line way up north, around the coastline kind of, into the mountains. And then we got off at this extremely ancient station. And we saw the Buddha and we hung out there for the afternoon. So it's like, oh yeah, I've literally done this before. I've been on one of these trains. But it just erased itself from my memory. Not the trip, I knew I went to see the Buddha, but how did I think I got there? Fucking magic? But I think it's because I was just following him that day like a duckling and just letting him handle it. And I just never committed that process to memory. Because this used to happen to me all the time when I lived in New York as well. People would take me places in New York and I would have no fucking hope in fucking hell of ever figuring out how to get back there by myself. But then if I went there by myself, then I knew how to do it. I don't know, it's weird. I'm very selectively stupid. I'm fantastically dumb in certain weird ways that, like, I don't know if it's my brain trying to fucking conserve energy or something. But yeah, if somebody else is taking the lead, I suddenly become follower number one. I am follower Jones. I am not using my own head anymore. But then when I have to do stuff on my own, maybe that's why I like traveling by myself. It just feels like such a insubstantial experience when I'm with other people because I just let them marshal my life. But if I'm by myself, then I gotta figure it out. And then it becomes a vibrant experience that I won't forget. And I guess maybe it would be handy to not be that way, but I mean, the New York examples from 2008, the Buddha examples from 2019, here we are now in 2023. It's clearly just how I am. It strings back through my entire adult life. It's not gonna change. Somebody just waved to me from their car as they went by. I'm holding this weird fucking recorder. You seem nice enough. Alright, speaking of forging paths on my own and figuring out how to do stuff, have I gotten turned around while talking to myself? Nope, I think I'm still on track to Takeshita Station. I'm walking past this restaurant, Royal Host. Nice spinning sign. It's clearly just like a family restaurant. Like the Buddhist guys took me to Coco's. And I know about Jonathan's just because it pops up all the time, even in manga and stuff. I don't know, Jonathan's for whatever reasons, or people always go to hang out. And of course there's Denny's. These are all interesting to me. It was quite exciting to me to infiltrate Coco's and to actually go inside and see how it works and see a robot delivering stuff. And I always think about how fantastically boring my hometown is. Like if you really dig, you can find some more interesting stuff. But in general, it's Wendy's, it's Burger King, it's McDonald's. If you want to get fancy pants, you can go to Outback Steakhouse or whatever. It's all just franchise shit. But now that I've been walking around Japan for a while, it's also all franchise shit here. It's just fucking chain restaurants and convenience stores. It's just that to me, that's interesting. But I bet there's Japanese people that feel the exact same way about Jonathan's and Coco's and Denny's, well, especially Denny's, as I feel about all the fucking boring-ass places in North America. Like that izakaya that Norihiko took me to in Chiba, that really is, and he was saying how it's hard to find those places. That really is like the cool, unique, interesting place. I bet if I grew up in Japan, I would be bored as shit of this country. But luckily, since I can only visit once in a while, every little thing is magical. Every little thing is just the best. I've heard, though, because there is a lot of French influence in Japan. A lot of French signs, a lot of French-feeling neighborhoods. And I've never actually been to Paris, but I'm pretty familiar with French culture from Canada. Je suis une Canadienne bilingue. that I've heard, because Japan is so meticulous and so spotless and so, prim and proper, everything in its right place. There's not even garbage cans on the street. People just don't litter. That's not 100% true, but generally, by world standards, it's fantastically clean. I've heard that's like a phenomenon where people will go visit Paris, Japanese citizens will visit Paris, because to them, that's their version of a magical place. The same way I think it's amazing to be in Japan, they're tired of Japan, they want to go to Paris. And they got this idea in their head that it's like storybook France. And then they get there and it's fucking gross. It's filthy and disgusting and disheveled. And they have like minor freakouts. They just don't know how to reconcile these ideas. And I can really understand how that must feel. I definitely know what they mean. It's such a great feeling for me to come visit Japan and see all the ways that things work and all the neat little mechanisms I wouldn't have thought of. And all the interesting thoughtfulness and just the stuff that's different from my culture in a better way. But what if I had come to visit and everything was just all fucked up, and everything was, what if there was just garbage everywhere? Or, I don't know, I've heard stories of I got a friend who teaches English in rural China. And I don't know, you can look it up. You can look up the stories. But kids shitting in the street is not a thing that doesn't happen, it must kind of suck when you build something up in your brain and then you get there and it's a real letdown. Where Japan, I wouldn't say I built it up in my brain. I wasn't even sure I was ever going to come here. But it had been built up in my mind inadvertently just through manga, anime, and video games, My entire life has been intertwined with Japan in some way. And then you get here, and not only is it as... ambulance. But then you get here, and not only is it as good as you hoped it would be, in many ways it's better. That's pretty fucking great. And then you kind of get that extra cherry on top. What is that term? Oh, the Gaijin card. Gaijin just means outsider, foreigner. Where you can kind of get away with some bullshit if you're a foreigner because people don't expect you to know how things work. So when I was trapped in that golf course the other day, if I had to explain my way out of a gate or something, I was going to have to pull the Gaijin card. Just I'm sorry, I just didn't know what I was doing. I got lost on a path I don't know. Sorry. I'm a fool, I'm not from here, I'm sorry. And it would be fine, the Gaijin card. But the other nice thing about the Gaijin card, especially if you're not living here, if you're just visiting, is there's obviously things about a collectivist Eastern society that are not gonna jive with my upbringing, my mindset, just my basic ideas about how human life should be. But you just don't have to give a fuck. You're just visiting. You can just ignore that stuff. You know what? I'm not here to change any societies. I'm not here to fucking tell anybody how I think things should be. I'm literally just here to walk around and soak it in and check it out. And if there's stuff that seems a little weird and seems a little suspect, I can just let it go. So it's kind of the best situation, I think, kind of the best of all worlds. I'm almost at this station. I gotta cross a river. What is this river called? The Naka River. There's a little green line going over the river. Is that a walking path? A walking bridge? I'm just gonna keep walking straight and see if I can get across the river. And then Takeshita Station should be right there. But yeah, it's kind of the best of all worlds in some ways because the people I do know who are more knowledgeable and have spent more time in Japan, they certainly have more criticisms. Once you have to deal with the bureaucracy and deal with the society, I complain about every dumb little thing. Oh, geez, the water was too hot in my fucking Airbnb. I could complain to you about North America till the end of time. I have criticisms, and they go deep. You know, there's no question I would feel that way about Japan if I ever tried to live here. So I'm not gonna. I'm just not gonna try. I'm not gonna get too involved. That's not what I'm here to do. I think that's all right. You don't have to fucking be the world police. You don't have to fucking solve the problems of every culture and society on Earth. You can just fucking not worry about it because it's not your goddamn business. That's my plan. Speaking of, sort of, about weird societal things in Japan that I'm just gonna choose to ignore, one thing I forgot to mention, when I went to that gigantic porn warehouse yesterday, see last episode for details, one thing I forgot to mention that was kind of funny is when I went in, they were playing Earth Song by Michael Jackson. And I hadn't thought about that song in a while, but if you haven't heard Earth Song, it's the secret best Michael Jackson song. You know, like, secret best in the sense that nobody ever brings it up, nobody ever talks about it, nobody ever puts it in the list of classic famous Michael Jackson songs. But it's the best Michael Jackson song. Earth Song is insane. It starts off good, and then it kicks it up a gear, and you're like, holy shit, this is amazing. And then it's just relentless. It just won't stop. It's such a good song. But it's weirdly under the radar. You know, it came out in 1996 when Michael Jackson was past the peak of his powers. But yeah, for my money, secret best Michael Jackson song, Earth Song. And yeah, just like that was playing. Like, the irony was not lost on me that a Michael Jackson song was playing in this store, this gigantic porn store that just had rows and rows and rows of like manga about, you know, you can connect the fucking dots, right? You know what I'm talking about. Michael Jackson could have been the star of those fucking comics, is what I'm trying to say. So anyway, go give Earth Song a listen, and then next time it comes time to donate money to a sexual abuse charity, donate an extra $5 because you listen to a Michael Jackson song. But it's a really good song, man. It's crazy good. All right, yeah, here's the walking path. Right over the water, straight to the station. Everything is going swimmingly. Jesus, is that construction? I didn't even notice because I had headphones in listening to music. How is there construction everywhere at all times? I don't even know where that's coming from. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the general rumbling of the station. I don't know what that is. Anyway, the plan is generally working. I got on this train, and it's like the other one I was on, where instead of the subway layout of chairs along the edges, it's front and backward facing chairs like a real train. And it was super duper crowded. It's a Sunday today. And it's like, oh, geez. You know, I don't regret all the times I have not taken trains so far on this trip because, yeah, crowded trains kind of suck. But I squeezed my way in, and luckily I was only one step away from Hakata Station. So as soon as we got to Hakata, everybody left. Almost everybody. But not everybody, because if everybody had left, I would presume it was the terminal station and get out and figure out what was going on. But enough people stayed, and some people got on, so I'm like, oh, okay, good, this train does keep going. So I stayed on and got a little seat. And then I noticed that there's washrooms in there. You know, it's like washrooms back this way. It's like, yeah, this really is like a real train. I'm like on the dang Darjeeling. So that made me think like, well, if this goes this way, you know, to Saitozaki, to the cool island, what if I went the other way? Then what would happen? What the heck's out there? So maybe, we'll see. But then today, as we're going along, we got to the point where it's like, okay, we should be curving around the bay soon. I should get some sweet views coming up. Maybe I should get my camera ready. And then the sweet view didn't happen. And it's like, okay, whoop, here's where we were supposed to turn left to go to the islands, and we just turned right instead. So it's like, all right, get off the train. So that's where I am right now, the train after the split. And it looks like I gotta go back, not one stop, but 2 or 3. And then that's where there's a split. There's 2 different red lines. But since I had that idea of like what happens if I go the other way, I briefly considered like maybe this is fate. maybe I should just stay on this line and see where it goes, but it just goes up the coast really, really far, and I don't know to where. I mean, presumably to nowhere. If the choice is just random nowhere or the cool peninsula that I want to go to, I'll go to the cool peninsula. But yeah, basically, besides the fact that I missed a transfer, basically this is working. Genius idea alert. There's a train that just showed up, but it's not my train, it's the one going the wrong way. I realized while I was standing there, waiting for a train to arrive, I was like, all right, I gotta go back 2 stations to get the transfer. But then I was looking and I'm like, I could just go back 1 station and walk from there to the other station that I want to get me back on the proper line. That'd be kind of cool. It's still early in the day. It's not even 1 p.m. yet. And soak in this neighborhood a little, get a tiny little taste of this. I'm already tired of being on the train. Then I realized, wait a second, why go back a station and do that? Let's just do that right now. So I got off. So that station is Fukuoka, Fukkodaime. And I'm going to take a little journey over to Wajiro, Wajiro station. And then Wajiro will take me a few more stops to the promised land. Oh, there's my train that I was supposed to catch. But yeah, this seems like a cool little divergence. Why not? Take a little mosey, because once I go back 2 stations, then I got to make sure I'm on the right line, and then I got to wait again for another train. It'll definitely be a little faster in the end, but this way I get to walk. I'd way rather walk. It's a beautiful day out. Never been to this neighborhood. Just take a little mosey through Wajiro Gauka. Let me just make sure I'm walking the right way, which is never a given. Yes, I am. And as a bonus, I got a new coffee to try from the machine. This is Yakult, Yakult. It's not a company I see a lot. Apparently, it seems like they sell mostly like fruit drinks or yogurt or something, but they had a cafe au lait. So I'm like, all right, let me try that. And it came out in a carton, a little carton, like like in your school lunch, except coffee. So let's try this bad boy. I predict coffee, milk, and sugar. It's like that Futurama joke about the 7 herbs and spices, the secret recipe of KFC. But then they discover the secret recipe and it's just chicken, grease, salt. You can't go wrong. Stabby, stabby. That's good. I mean, I guess the difference between all these coffees in Japan, obviously the black coffee is black as hell, black as night. But beyond that, it is just coffee, sugar, milk. But there's subtle aftertastes that are different. And if it does not have the aftertaste of sugar crisp, then I call that a win. And this does not. It's hard to pinpoint what this tastes like. It's, I don't know. It's just nice though. That tastes good. Riveting, I know. All right, let's cut this recording because there's obviously a train coming. Let's get out of here before the train noise happens. Oh no, here comes the train. I didn't press stop in time. Oh no. Oh no, here's the train. Here comes the train. It's actually not that loud. It's sort of nice and calm. A little conductor in the back, sticking his head out the window. It is interesting. These things, they're like hybrids between the subway experience and a train. They're pseudo trains. All right. Next stop, the actual station I was trying to get to. Alright, let's play a little game. See if you can guess what that pretty piano music was all about. Where was I just at that had that playing? For a context clue, and based on the history of this podcast, keep in mind that I just drank a coffee. So that's the other name that could easily have worked for this fucking podcast, is the Toilet Report. The Toilet Report with Small Bladder McNally. What is this store called? Unfortunately, the name is not in English, so I don't know. I would like to give them a shout out. Their fucking logo is an M with 2 dots over the M. Geez, that's really clever, so that the M looks like 2 stick figures holding hands. What a good logo. Marukio Wajiro, which I'm guessing is a grocery store chain. But yeah, I was walking past this place. I noticed the little blue and pink man and woman washroom sign pointing around the corner. I was like, oh, that's a little unusual. It's not even in the store. I guess that's kind of like a gas station in North America where you go around the corner, although I think that's not very common either because of all the ne'er-do-wells doing near in said washrooms, you know. It's like you got to get a key and then you go around the corner and unlock it, and then you end up in a goddamn nightmare portal. That's my memory of washrooms, you know, gas station washrooms in North America. So I think they don't even do that no more, really. But in this case, man, you go around the side of the building. It's fucking perfect. Everything's meticulous. It's playing nice piano music. And inside, there were artificial plants, there were hand towels. Everything was so nice. It was almost like someone's house. That is like one of the nicest washrooms I've ever seen in my life. I should have gone into the stall just to see. Like, does it have the super magical, amazing toilet too? All I used was the fucking urinal. What a wasted opportunity. But man, talk about delightful. What the heck? I don't know. I mean, I guess it does come down in some ways to the aforementioned ne'er-do-wells. Like, you know, where the heck am I? I'm just in some random stretch between 2 random stations in Fukuoka. Nobody is here except locals. There's no other reason to be here. I just happened to have taken the wrong train, and I was like, I'll just take a little stroll between trains. So if nobody's here but locals, and in general, Japan mostly, is not a nation of people that just want to fuck everything up for no goddamn reason, like North America is. Like, yeah, who's gonna mess with it? What's the danger? You can just have a nice public washroom. It's fucking so great, you know? I love it. I goddamn love it. Alright, I made it to Saitozaki Station, and right at the end, it is weird because the stop just before this is where 99% of people get off. Literally everyone on our train car got off except one Japanese guy, me and my new friend that I just made. It's funny that I was just talking about Paris and France because I just met a French guy, Clément, from Paris, where we were both at that station whose name I don't recall now. Wajiro Station? Yeah, I believe that's the one I was at. And he was asking somebody which side of the train track to take, and I presumed he was asking to get to here, to get to Saitozaki. So I said to him, like, oh, are you trying to get to the cool island in the middle? And in heavily accented English, He said, yes, he was. I was like, all right, cool. That's where I'm trying to go too. So where is it? Help me out. Let me take advantage of your willingness to ask someone what's going on. And yeah, basically he's here for a month. He's got to leave sometime in December. He's here for school stuff, like a school trip. He said he was just in South Korea and it was very cold. And someone else told me that too, that I should prepare if I go to South Korea after this, that it's not going to be like this. It's not going to be tropical like this. Despite it being quite close, it's pretty cold in the winter. But yeah, he was also carrying a big plush Pokemon. The big pink one, I think it's like the Slowpoke one. What is that one called? I only know it from the memes. The very slow, big pink Pokemon. I think that's the one. And he said it was almost like an accident, like you just presume the claw machines aren't going to really work, you got to pile a bunch of money in them before you finally get an attempt where the gripper really grips. But in his case, it just worked. He just won it right away. So he said it was like a great deal. But now he's got to walk around with this. It was really big, the size of like a medium-sized dog. Obviously not heavy like that because it's just a plush, but this thing under his arm was like a significant problem. So he's like, I don't know what I will do with this. I must go to a convenience store and get a bag. Oh, that's a bad, I apologize. I apologize, France. That's not how you sound. I talked to him a bit in French. It was kind of cool to be able to actually use my French for something. But yeah, we just kind of chit-chatted about, oh man, can you believe how warm it is? Whoa, Japan, whatever. Oh, you doing school stuff? Cool, not me. I'm just an old guy. I just have money to spend, But yeah, we had a nice little chit-chat, and then we got to Saitozaki, and from here, he has things a little more well-planned. There's a bus stop, and he's like, yeah, my next step is this bus, which is going to take him to the other island that's connected to this island with all the shrines and stuff. Which that is kind of my plan too. I'm just gonna wander and see if I can just get there on foot and see what happens. Cause it's still like just ludicrously nice out, super beautiful. Several hours of sun before it gets dark. I got all afternoon. Technically, I think we're trying to get to the same place. But it's kind of fun to have a train buddy for 10 or 15 minutes while you're just on a little journey. But I didn't want to, encroach. Like, hey, let me hop on your whole journey. You got a bus? Let me take that same bus as you, And as like fun as it is, it's just like, oh, I'm having a little chit chat with somebody. I mean, we're out of stuff. We said all the things there are to say. Oh, you're from here. I'm from here. You're here for this. I'm here for this. Oh, yeah, this is cool. This is neat. He highly recommended Osaka. He said Osaka is worth it. Like as far as these busy tourist cities, Kyoto and Osaka, he told me to go to Osaka. So, there we go. Got that tucked away. But yeah, then I said, fare thee well. Bonne chance avec votre prix. Good luck with your prize. That is like carrying a child around all day. And fare thee well. But yeah, that was kind of neat. And yeah, so that stop right before this, let me get the name. Oh, he had a similar mountain hiking experience too. I can't remember what city he said it was in. But he went on like a tour group thing to like a castle in the mountains. But because I was saying how, yeah, like at least here, if it gets dark, it's easy to get out of here. Where I was on the mountains the other day and it got dark and I had to go through a golf course. Told him that dumb story. And he said a similar thing happened on this tour group he was on. Like once you get on the ridge of the mountain, there is no escape from the ridge. They had to just walk up and down and up and down and up and down the peaks for like 4 hours. And it started to get dark. And yeah, he said a similar thing of like, he knew it would be okay because he was with a tour group. But if he had been doing that by himself, it would be a significantly more stressful endeavor. But yeah, out here, no worries. So yeah, the stop everybody else got off at, except me, Clement, and one Japanese guy, like literally everyone got off at Umino Nakamichi, Uminonakamichi. And I think that's because this is where there's like Marine World, Japanese famous car museum, sunshine pool, flower museum. You know, all this stuff. The stuff you would come here on a Sunday afternoon to go do. Hey, let's go on a date. Let's go to do the stuff. Then going this one extra step to Saitozaki. You know, Clement was here for the bus. I was here just because it's the farthest station. And yeah, this is dead. This is dead. You would never know that there's anything touristy to do around here at all. This is super quiet. I mean, a motorcycle went by, but there's no people. Like, no people. This is like a ghost town. You would think this is a zombie apocalypse right now. It's like eerie. I think there's someone on okay, there's a car turning toward me. But on foot, there's no one, and there's no signs of activity. I'm walking by a hair salon that's closed, I guess because it's the weekend. It's just kind of remarkable how you can go from, you know, marine world, super duper, everyone's doing stuff. You go one more stop on the train, and there's no one. Which works for me. This is what I like. So yeah, I'm just gonna ramble my way across this island toward Umi no Nakamichi Beach, which is like the road that connects this island to the final island in the chain. Again, not technically islands, but you know what I mean. And there's one guy across the street walking down the street. Yeah, this is like weirdly empty. I don't hate it. But yeah, presuming I can walk between these islands, I guess Shiomi Park Observatory is kind of what I'm mainly aiming for. Gold Stamp Park, I don't know, we'll just see what's over there. Since we're right by the water, I think pretty much anything is going to be nice. But if for whatever reason I can't get over there on foot, then I will, then it's like, oh, maybe I should have attached myself like a little traveling barnacle to Clement from Paris. But I can probably just walk. There's not that many places where you can't just walk in Japan. Oh yeah, here I'm walking past like some kind of, like who knows what, but just gigantic vats. Like a bunch of them, half a dozen of these gigantic, huge things. It's like Far Cry 2 when you're destroying the oil fields. This is definitely not the tourist part of the island. Man, this is kind of cool. I feel like I discovered a weird secret, but maybe it is just that I'm just looking for different things than other people. You know, like I feel like it's weird that, okay, so I got off at Saitozaki Station and I'm walking along the, you know, you kind of head to the southern edge of the island where there was just nobody. And I got to the beach and there was nobody. And then I started walking along and there were some fishermen and then a little group of local kids playing. And then some more fishermen, and then once I passed them, now there's nobody again. And I'm on an empty beach across from me. I'm right across from Fukuoka Tower. There's the PayPay Center. There's the mountains behind it. You know, it's like the perfect, beautiful view of downtown Fukuoka from here. And it's literally just me. What the fuck's going on here? But maybe it is just that on a Sunday afternoon, I mean, I guess I saw the evidence. It's everybody wanted to get off at the earlier stop and do this stuff. You know, people don't want to just come here where there's nothing and do nothing. They wanted to come here to, you know, to go pay an entry and go to a place and do a thing. But I really, oh, there's one more fisherman guy. I really can't believe that there's just nobody here. It's fucking weird. It's super warm out, but there's also a breeze. I'd say it's almost perfect. Maybe if you wanted to lay out on a beach, it's not quite perfect because it's a little windy. But yeah, if you want to go nowhere and see no one, holy fuck, fucking nailed this one. And you can kind of tell just nobody uses this beach. There's quite a bit of actual like garbage kind of bottles and stuff that have washed up on the shore that nobody gives a sweet fuck about. So I guess it's just not popular. I don't know, it's pretty weird. But I think one thing could be, I mean, just from the level at which these bottles are, that's obviously high tide. This part I'm at right now is pretty wide, so I feel like high tide does not go all the way up, but there were some parts that I passed that if the tide was up, I think would disappear. I think I can't guarantee that this route exists. At certain tide points, there's probably no beach here. But then there is like a little seawall with a walkway behind it that seems to go along the whole beach. So I don't think you'd be stuck. It seems like they've prepared for this eventuality. You can just walk behind the seawall down a walking path. Yeah, this works for me. This turned out pretty good. Man, this would be a good place to have a house. Just a bunch of these random houses here. Dude, yeah, like if your fucking window, your little balcony just points out at this beach. Oh my God, yeah, I'm just turning around and like there's all the Fukuoka stuff, but then over to the right is that other island, the one you need to take a ferry to, and there in fact is a ferry passing. What is that one called again? Nokonoshima Island. And you can see the shrine up at the top. Just an insanely beautiful view. This is some nice shit. And apparently completely unpopular. How fucking weird. I mean, I guess I would call it like a raw beach in the sense that it's not rock, it's not gravel, it is sand. But yeah, this is not a curated beach at all. Now that I look around, like the number of bottles and random dishevelment is quite high. Again, I don't think people are littering, it's just clearly washed up. People are littering, but not on the beach, it's just washing up from the water. I mean, I've heard stories about that too, in all kinds of countries, but like things will wash up on shore in different languages, and you're like, God damn, garbage from another country is washing up here. It's just a worldwide problem with litter. But yeah, this maybe is not the kind of beach where you would just want to lay down a blanket and a parasol and chill out, because it is like hard-packed sand, because it's clearly been covered in water recently. I don't know if I would want to hang out here, but I never want to hang out anywhere. I never want to just hang out on the beach. I want to be moving. I want to travel through an area. So for a beach to walk along, perfect, very good. It's one thing though too I learned in Vancouver. I learned that I don't know something once again. I don't really know how tides work. I just thought they were predictable and they happened at the same time every day, because isn't it like the moon or some fucking shit? And I'm pretty sure like the Bay of Fundy, you can know what time things are gonna happen. But in Vancouver, it must be the bay effect, because anytime I was near a bay, I could never fucking tell. From day to day, it was always random whether or not that area of waterside property even existed or not. There was no consistency at all. But maybe it is consistent when you're right at the ocean like this. Maybe that was because it was a bay. I don't know. But anyway, I would definitely say it's worth going to Saitozaki Station, heading to the southern shore, just to try, just to see if it exists. And if it does exist, and all you're looking for is a nice walk, this is your nice walk. Hey, here's a shoe that washed up on shore. And yeah, this island's not too crazy big. It looks like I'm almost at the road that connects the two islands. So, fingers crossed, let's see what happens there. right, I'm back on the beach, and I guess, I don't know, I'm going to revise my statement a little about this recommendation that you go to Saitozaki and then walk along the coast of the island. But I don't know, I've revised it twice in my mind already, where I got to a point where there was a big, what do you call it, where there's just a bunch of boats? A boat yard? I feel like there's a better word for that. A marina. And I didn't go all the way to failure to really be sure I couldn't go any further, but just looking down the coast, I was like, I don't like my chances. I don't think I can maneuver around this on foot. And then on Google Maps, I saw there was a small golf course also behind it. My old friend, the golf course. And golf courses, they don't love through traffic. So maybe I could have done it, but I don't think so. But I just popped over to the road. The road is really close. But the road is a significantly less idyllic experience. You know, it's just a very narrow, busy road. And you have to walk along the road for about the same amount of time as you walk down the beach. So that's where I was thinking, like, the Occam's razor of traveling. Like, oh, maybe that's why no one's here. Maybe it's not so great, you know? You do get some beach, but then you get this road that surely is not the best way to get where you're going. Though, on the road, there was a path up into a mountain with a torii gate, but I was like, I've had enough of that. I'm so blasphemous, but it's like, dude, I saw a fucking, again, temples, shrines, I guess I'm getting them confused in my mind, but I saw one of these this morning, just by accident, you know? I don't need to go out of my way and go up a bunch of stairs to see another one. I'm good, Japan. Thank you for your bounty of beauty. But then if you continue down the road a bit, there is a like a roadside barbecue, just like a little stand, but it was really busy. Lots of people parked and buying barbecue, and it smelled very delicious. So I mean, that could be worth it alone. And then right at that point, you can get back onto the beach. So I'm back on the beach now. And looking back behind me, apparently I could have got back on the beach some ways back, because it really seems like it stretches back pretty far. So ultimately, I guess maybe I'm back on the recommendation train, because it wasn't really that big of a detour, and now I'm back on the beach, and I'm all by myself again, and it's fucking beautiful as fuck. You know? How do you argue with that? How do you argue with beautiful as fuck? Give me an argument against that. You know what I'm saying? And this in front of me, is this the mythical trail between? I think it is. Dang, it's so sunny. It's very hard to see the names of things. Yeah, in front of me is the road to Shikashima. And it's not too long, and it appears to have beach alongside it that I can easily walk. Delightful. You know, this is kind of a good example of, like, it was pretty cool to just meet a random dude and have a little chit chat on the train. And, you know, maybe it's another example of my bizarre isolationism. And what's the word I'm looking for? Introversion, whatever. That I just rode on the train with him for a bit and then did not continue on, even though he was going to where I was going. But I feel like this is kind of a good example. Like, once you get there, then what? I don't even know where get there is or what it means. I don't know. I just see points on a map, you know? There's like an observatory thing that seems like it could be cool, but I don't know. So yeah, like, I'm glad I didn't rush, because then once I get there, it's like, darn it, the journey's over. And as I was saying the other day, like, it's just not how my brain works. Like I don't care about any one specific thing. There's no one thing I want to get to, and then I'll feel like, good, I saw the thing, you know? So, like, I want to just experience the place. I want to be moving. I want to travel through the area, and just, that's the good part. The good part is seeing the whole place, moving through the place. And then when I get to whatever I'm trying to get to, I can see it for a second as I pass by, you know, as I loop right around and go back home. It's the journey, not the destination, metaphorically and literally. Man, it's nice being next to the water. Water is good stuff. You know, this is also kind of an argument. Let's just get all hippie-ish and annoying for a moment. You know, just all these people going by in cars. Oh, there's a much bigger beach on the other side. I'm probably not supposed to cross this road, but it's medium busy, but it's 2 lanes. I can skirt my way across this for sure. But yeah, the beach on the northern side is a lot bigger. Well, we'll see. I'm not going to force it. Let's just stroll, and should a break happen to happen, I got long legs. I can step over this fucking fence. No problem. Though, yet again, there's no one there. It's just empty. So weird. I don't know what's going on here. It's like I'm inside a postcard right now. It's beyond beautiful. Yeah, here we go. Break in the traffic. Hop over. Biggity bam. Whoop. Yeah, there's somebody fishing. Oh wow, look at this side. I wonder if I had tried to walk on this side of on the north side of the island, how would that have gone? Because this beach seems to stretch pretty fucking far. So yeah, we'll do the car thing first. Is you know, it's kind of neat in a way to not have a car, because you just have no choice but to do shit like this. If I lived around here and I had a car, it would just be really hard to not take the car. It's like, you know, whatever, it's just faster, it's easier, we got the car, let's just take the car. You would definitely never take one of these walks. Whereas I do nothing but take these walks, because I have no choice. And then, yeah, these people fishing. Most of the people I've seen out here are fishing. The North American equivalent is dog walking. Whenever I go to a park anywhere, from Toronto to Fredericton, to Montreal to Vancouver, it's usually somebody walking their dog. So, I mean, that's another alternative idea. Get an outdoor hobby or get a dog. And then you're just kind of forced, not forced, you're highly incentivized to actually go outside and do stuff. Because, yeah, the average person just does not. They just don't. I mean, this is definitely a little strange. I'm surprised there's this few people. But honestly, it's not that weird. This is kind of my experience in general. You go to the most beautiful place in the world, and there's like 3 people there. That's just how it is. That's just how things function right now. Anyway, I know I'm getting annoyingly preachy, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up and just soak in the view. Man, this is nice too, because this is my first time on the other side of the island. It's really cool to see downtown Fukuoka, but now it's like I can still see the coastline stretching on my right, and it goes out to like an island with a really harsh edge, like a big cliff at the end. It kind of looks like a bigger version of Herse Rock in Quebec, except further away, more trees on it, and without the hole. So maybe it doesn't look like that at all. Then there's just a big expanse where all I can see is ocean and boats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boats. And then to my left is this other island, which has a bit of seaside houses at the start. And I can see a highway stretching along the outside edge. But yeah, this is a pretty much just a mountain. It's a lot more mountainous than the island I am leaving. Pretty much immediately, it's just forest and hills. It doesn't even look like it's populated at all, just at the start. And I see something up at the highest peak poking out. That must be this observatory thing. But yeah, who knows? Maybe this will be weird on foot too. Maybe I'm supposed to take a bus. Maybe we'll find out right now. Here's yet another, the classic great idea to record a podcast while I'm going uphill. This is getting more and more steep the whole time. So this island is very undeveloped, which I guess now that I'm here, it's one of these things where I guess I'm not really good at interpreting what Google Maps is trying to tell me. But when you look, it's like, oh yeah, there's a little tangle of streets down at the bottom when you first arrive, and then just sparse streets throughout, and nothing. And the nothing in this case is because it is just a big forested mountain. Like right now, I am walking up a cobblestone path, but it's real dirty, very, just in nature, covered in leaves and stuff, not at all maintained. And it's sort of like in a valley almost. There's trees on either side where like the gnarls of their roots you can see on the edges of where things have eroded. Which again, if it sounds like I'm describing a dream or a video game, I know, but it's just Japan, man. Oh, I found out, by the way, anyone who has listened to the older episodes, when I was talking about how being out in the nature parts of Japan reminds me of video games, specifically Sega games from the 1980s that weren't at all localized. So it's the scenery and the setting is like, oh yeah, that's what this all was. This is, the setting is Japan. And every time I would run into, warning signs or whatever in the woods, it's like, oh yeah, this is like that game Shooting Gallery or Jungle Hunt or whatever it was called. Yeah, it was Jungle Hunt. Where it's like, okay, yeah, the bears and the spiders and the boars. But one of the common video game enemies was monkeys. And I have not experienced monkeys. But Anna from Colombia, I don't remember specifically at what point in her travels, but as I described previously as well, this girl I met through Airbnb went to like 49 different places, so many different places. And yeah, she said she did run into monkeys and she found the monkeys a little scary. It's a little scary when you have a monkey warning. But she had no direct monkey problems. It's similar to me where it's just like the idea of the spiders and of the snakes is a bit creepy. So yeah, I got word that the monkeys are also a little weird. When she brought up the monkeys, I tried to explain to her my video game philosophy. But I think between English not being her first language and not playing video games in the 80s, I don't think she knew what the fuck I was talking about. But yeah, this place, it's like a little seaside town, but I wouldn't even call it a town. It's like a little seaside village. There's some modern houses, but there's a lot that are really old houses, and there's not very many of them. It's a really small community. There was like a little cafe on Google Maps that I couldn't find. I don't know if that really exists or what. No convenience stores, that's for sure. I'm glad I grabbed a can of corn soup, because there are still drink machines popping up all over the place. I grabbed a can of corn soup earlier, which I don't regret. What did I even eat today? Oh, that's right, I wanted to leave quickly. So at my Airbnb, I bought a bunch of stuff to put in a cup noodle, because the cup noodle here is already awesome. But I was like, why not add to it? So I got bean sprouts and soft-boiled eggs. And I usually just get a chicken breast, but I was like, chicken breast is pretty boring. What else do they serve as a side? What else do they sell at Family Mart? And I found pig ear in mustard miso sauce. And I was like, God damn it. I barely know what that fucking means, but all right, let's do it. It made me think of, there were grocery stores in Brooklyn that had like pickled pig hooves that you could buy. And I was like, holy shit. But once I tossed it in with all the other stuff, with all the bean sprouts and the noodles and whatnot, oh, a vehicle coming by. Oh, I believe that's police. It's nice that he has a little warning like that. I didn't even know vehicles would go up this road. I thought maybe it was narrow enough that it was just for pedestrians, but I guess cars here are very narrow, so it is a one-lane road. But yeah, once I put the pig ear in with everything else, I can't really say what it tasted like. It was very crunchy, halfway between crunchy and chewy. I guess it's just like cartilage or whatever. So it wasn't bad, but I just got it, as a weird thing to try. I don't think I would get it again. But yeah, I wanted to get out of the house as quick as possible for the sunlight, so I did not eat that stuff this morning. So yeah, now I remember I just got, because I always see these things and I never try them. It's like just like a little pastry thing with custard in the middle that is shaped like a fish. It's probably for kids, I would have to guess. But it was very tasty. But yeah, that's all I had for breakfast. But no convenience stores here. So then I headed toward one of, it's a pretty direct route up to this observation deck. I don't know what else to do on this island or what else I should be doing, so let's just try for that. And on the way there was big long stairs up to a shrine. Let me make sure I get that right. So the torii gates are shrines. So yeah, this was a shrine. And then the temples are Buddhist. Torii gates mean Shinto. Again, I don't really know the difference, but I can at least try to fucking commit to memory which one is which. But I saw that, but I did not go up. There were other people going up there. But I was like, what if there's no through path? Because there usually isn't. What if I go up there and then I just have to turn around and come back? I don't want to walk up all those steps. Psst. Hey, it's Keith from the future. On the way back down, I went past the shrine just to check it out. It's called the Shiomi Shrine, Shikaumi Shrine. And it does, in fact, have a through road. So you could take this same route that I took and still go see the shrine. You can just exit at the back of the shrine and go onto the road that I was on. Just exit onto the road that goes to Kainsuka, Kainsuka. Because if you're here anyway, you might as well see it, right? Okay, that's my update from the future. Back to the present. Quote unquote, you know what I mean? So instead I walked up this road, and it couldn't be more evident that you're not supposed to walk up this road. There's no room on either side at all for people. And I did see two locals that were walking on the road, but that's it. But luckily, I also only saw two cars. So even though there was no room and it was a silly place to be walking, it was no big deal. And then halfway there, I got to this turnoff where the main road goes to a park. This goes toward the observatory. And yeah, it's very narrow. I thought it was just a walking path. God damn, I'm at another one of these parts where I'm next to, this thing's kind of winding up next to a big cliffside, rockside face, half rock, half eroded earth, and trees just clinging on up there. It looks awesome. But I bet that's mildly dangerous. When it gets windy, those are going to be the first to go. It looks really cool. But yeah, I suspect since there were so few cars even on the main road, I don't think normal cars ever use this, if I had to guess. I think the fact that that car that went by was police is not a coincidence. This seems just fine to walk. So yeah, this is a bit of a strange overall thing. You're clearly not supposed to do this, You're supposed to take the bus. What time is it, by the way? 3:30. So I got 2 more hours of sunlight. So my hope is I can find another route from this observatory. I don't know. There's a road. Not really. There's a road that continues on but it doesn't connect to the main highway until way at the back of the mountain at Katsuma Beach. And then I'd have to walk all the way around. Although the west side seems a lot more populated. There's hotels and museums and restaurants and grocery stores and Shikomi Shrine, Okitsumiya, that is out in the water. I don't know, I was gonna say maybe I just need to turn back around and come back the way I came, but this island's not that big. This isn't taking me that long and I'm almost at the observatory. So maybe I will just try to go back down the other side of the island and circle back around. Because even if it gets dark down there, I'll survive. All I gotta do at this point is walk back to the subway, so not too bad. Here specifically, this would be a little bad at night because there's no lights. But as long as I'm near the edges of this island, I think I'll be okay. So yeah, this is a bit weird. I can't recommend this particular route because this is just like weird. There's nothing here. No one ever goes here, clearly. Not tourists, not locals, nobody. Just one lonely police fucking minivan. But I guess that's the weirdness of this podcast over and over. I can't recommend this. I can't say it's a good idea, but it's exactly what I wanted to do. This is actually working out really well. This is cool. Walking through some weird nowhere place is sweet. Oh man, I'm coming out now. The road is paved again, and I can see the top of the tree line and the beautiful blue, clear skies. Cool, all right, I made it to Shiomi Park Observatory. I guess we'll start with the bad and go up to the good. So the bad is, that's the worst smelling washroom I've smelled ever in Japan, and amongst the worst I've ever smelled in my life. As far as just pure pee smell, it's a very strong contender for worst ever. What the fuck? I didn't even get a chance to see if they had a sit-down toilet or a squat toilet. If I had to guess, probably a squat toilet. Because I couldn't even stand in there long enough to pee. I just couldn't stand it. It smelled so insanely terrible. It's like the ghosts of everyone who ever peed in there are all just still hanging around peeing for all of eternity. It's fucking insane how bad that smelled. So I was like, never mind, I don't need to pee that bad, holy fuck. And outside though was a ice cream machine. And I was like, all right, that's close enough to food. In fact, the cone part kind of is food. I'll take that. So I got a nice matcha green tea ice cream cone. And then went to the observation deck. And it's very similar to the one that I found in that park the other day in central Fukuoka, or center-ish Fukuoka. Except that one was under construction, and that one was bigger, where I was saying at the time, like, because I'm so scared of heights, I wouldn't have enjoyed going up in it anyway. Oh, there's like a dirt bike track down here. What the fuck is this shit? Excite bike time. Off-road racetrack. Whoa, wait, does that mean I'm going the wrong way? Actually, you know what, this is fine. So I thought I was gonna go to like Harai Pond and end up out at Katsuma Beach, way on the wrong end of the map, the wrong end of the island, and just walk around, but it's already 4 o'clock, so I mean, if I did that route, it would end up getting dark. I'm not even sure, I mean, it says I can go that way. Oh, I see, there's like another one of those little tiny one-lane roads for 500 meters that then would connect me to the road that goes to the back side. But by accident, I'm just heading down the more major road back to where I came from. Yeah, let's stick with this. That's clearly a better idea, because yeah, it's gonna be dark pretty soon. I still got a ways till I get back to the subway. And fucking off-road dirt bikes. Fuck, I'm just gonna stop here for a second, watch this fucking shit. This is cool. These are like kids on fucking not Super Cubs. God, that must be fun as shit. That was the one thing as a kid I always wished that I had was a Power Wheels, you know? They're just like cars for little kids you drive around in. They're probably not nearly as cool as they seem. My parents never got me a Power Wheels. I mean, that's fine. I got spoiled enough. I got video games and stuff. I didn't need a Power Wheels, but I always wanted one. And then I never got to try one because when you're a grown-up, you can't do it. But yeah, this is a small child you're hearing right now. He's very tiny. He's got to be like 8 years old. And he's just bombing around this track, his dirt bike track. What a fucking life, dude. I mean, yeah, why else would you live? What's the benefit of living in undeveloped nowhere island, if not this? This is fucking cool as shit. All right, well, I'm not gonna linger too much longer because it might seem a little weird that I'm just standing here watching this kid, but this is fascinating. This is awesome. Even just riding this little track on a mountain bike would be fun. God, he's just a tiny little, this is wild. A little teeny kid just fucking kicking ass. Oh, and he just disappeared up into the mountains. Where's he even going? What the fuck? What the fuck? What a life. That's fucking awesome, dude. I want to do that. I want to have that kid's life. That's fucking sweet. All right, so anyway, I got to the observation deck, and yeah, this one was open, unlike the one the other day, and it wasn't as high. So I thought, maybe this won't be a problem. It was like, was it 3 or 4 floors up? I don't know. Anyway, sadly, when I got to the top, there's a smattering of other people there looking at the views. Unbelievable view, just unbelievable. That band of beach that I was walking along to get between the two islands is just, there it is, from way, way up. Perfect view. You get to see my whole journey. I get to look back at it and just be like, oh, there it is, fucking sweet. And then way in the distance is all the Fukuoka stuff, and then way in the deep distance is all the mountains. Fucking sweet. Very recommended, very awesome. But unfortunately, my dumb phobia, it was just a little too high, just a slightly too high up, where I just felt like I couldn't determine where the ground was anymore, because around us, things sloped down because we're at the top, we're at the peak of this island. And I just feel like I'm drifting away from reality. I'm like, how? My brain is just starting to, it was a gradual process. It wasn't like, whoa, but I was gradually losing my grip a little of just like, how am I this high up? How am I seeing this view? What is going on? This is not right. And I guess like butterflies in the stomach, that's like the good version, right? So I don't know, I had like moths in my stomach. A similar feeling, but just something you very clearly don't want in your stomach. Unlike butterflies, which that's clearly fine. That's a nice feeling. Ooh, I saw that girl at work. I got butterflies in my stomach. I didn't have like fucking stinging wasps in my stomach or anything. Do wasps even sting? Who the fuck cares? Who cares? I didn't like it, is all I'm trying to say. So I was like, God, this is such a shame, because this is undeniably an incredible view. This is like awesome. This is really nice. But my body's betraying me. I can't stay up here. I managed to take some pictures, but I had to set the little timer on my phone and stand as far back from the edge of the railing as I could and just lean over with my arm and hold the phone. And it's just like, fuck. My time is extremely limited here. I gotta go. But luckily, I stumbled upon a solution. As I went back down, my shame walk back down, I just stopped halfway down. I stopped at like 1 floor up instead of whatever the top was. And it was perfect because I still had an unobstructed view out over the side of the mountain at everything. But below me, I could see the ground, and there was a bench, and there was 2 people sitting on the bench below me. So I was like 10 feet up. The ground was in my peripheral vision. I was extremely aware of where the ground was, where the edge was before the drop off. And there's little people just sitting right there under me. And what's the difference? When you're already at the highest point on the whole mountain, at that point, 1 or 2 extra flights of stairs up doesn't make any fucking difference at all. So I was like, oh, right on. I did it. I managed to circumvent my stupid fucking central nervous system. And I just stood there for a while and just soaked it in. It's like, beautiful. And now I'm walking back, and this particular route is not unlike the first one. Not meant to be walked on. No room for pedestrians, but only slightly busier than before. And pretty wide street. Again, suboptimal, but not so bad, whatever. It'd be kind of neat to see what's going on the back of the island, but I suspect I never will. Because this place is just, it's not great for walking. That bus plan is not the worst plan in the world. It's clearly designed for showing up in a bus or driving up, because there's a parking lot up there, driving up with your car. Nobody else is doing this on foot. And I don't blame them. But I would consider this a successful adventure. I made it to the island that I just presumed I couldn't get to anyway without a ferry. Made it there on a fucking subway car train. Made a single serving friend. Walked up through a cool, weird jungle path. And kind of best of all, and the view, sure, great, amazing view. Greatest view I've ever seen. One of the greatest views of all time, probably. But that kid on the motorbike, I was like mesmerized by him. I want to just keep watching him. There's just the kinetic flow of, and just, I guess, just the fact that he's a kid. I don't know, I shouldn't be surprised. Like, kids really, they're so good at soaking up stuff. Like, the famous skateboarder, Tony Hawk, or if you're British, Tony Hawks. They always call him Tony Hawks. Don't tell me you don't, I know you do. His name's Tony Hawk. It's an apostrophe S. Tony Hawks is a different guy. But he was the first guy to do the 900-degree spin on a skateboard. And it was like, whoa, but then you see his tiny little children when they were just wee little kids, and they were pulling off that trick like it was nothing. Little kids are sponges. They learn how to do shit. But yeah, that just seems so fun. I don't know, it just reminds me of like, my dad one time bought, they were like pretty good quality, pretty rugged little RC cars. And I just remember me and him and my brother on the north side of Fredericton in some rugged terrain near the Brookside Mall, which is probably developed now, but at the time was rugged terrain, and we're just burning around with our little RC cars. Good times, good memories. This is like that, but like, and also just like paths along the river. I just remember taking mountain bikes on paths along the river and just looking for spots where you could do a jump. You go up and down and boom, try to get enough speed as much as you could and do a jump. And this is like both those things together. You get the fun of burning around and doing a jump, and you get the fun of a self-propelled vehicle, and you're fucking on it. You're just I don't know. Even if he was a bit older, it wouldn't have seemed so amazing, but he was so small, so little. Just seems so fun. Have your own little motorcycle, learn how to maintain and repair it. Why would you even want to move to the city? Fuck that. Ride a motorbike forever. I don't know how I'm going to top that sentiment, so maybe we'll call this episode to a close. Ride a motorbike forever, says the guy who's never ridden a motorbike and probably never will. But yeah, I always have, I don't know, it's so hard to determine what it's really like to live in a different culture. And I know even like in North America, like, yeah, sure, on the surface we got money and we're all prosperous and everything's great. But it's not, we have our own weird problems and all kinds of weird shit. And it's hard to determine when you look at another culture, like, what is it really like? Again, my understanding is just the surface level, is just the video games and the anime. It's like, yeah, I've had those same shallow experiences you've had, but I don't really know what it's like to grow up here, what the school system is like, or having to go through the job market and just all this stuff. There's always that question in the back of your mind. It's like, yeah, this seems pretty cool, but is it? What's the deep, dark underbelly? That kid, dude, that's just the first time that I've ever seen somebody and just thought, That's 100% fun. That's so fucking good. That just looks awesome. All right, I found a curve in the road. I don't know if I'm going the right way. But both ways go down, so I must be, oh yeah, I think I am. I'm heading toward a park. Listed on the map as a park. This can't possibly be the right way. What the fuck is this? Whatever. Just presume I got back okay. I'll see you next episode. Ride a motorbike forever. Thank you for listening.